Why you should always buy property in an LLC. Hey folks, my name is Chris at Hauseit, based here in Miami, Florida. Today we're going to talk about this interesting topic, and this is a question on the minds of not just first-time buyers, but also seasoned investors, other buyers and such. And it often comes down to a trade-off. It's one between cost and efficiency and additional protection. So as you can imagine, if you buy a property in your own name or with your spouse perhaps, it's quite easy. It's the standard way of going about purchasing a property. If you're buying with a spouse, especially if it's your own home, your primary residence, there's some additional protections as well depending on the state against creditors and such. And it's just so easy to do. You don't need to pay any additional fees and such, versus if you buy in an LLC, you do, first of all, you have to pay the formation filing fees and the upkeep for the LLCs. There might be fees depending on your state, on how much you might have to pay, per year to upkeep the LLC. So there are all these other fees and such, and perhaps you might also have to pay for a registered agent as well if you don't want your personal name or address to show up in public records. So it really is always this friction between keeping it simple and efficient versus having that extra layer of protection. And on the simplicity side, a lot of folks say, well, listen, I already have home insurance that protects me against a slew of things. Perhaps I've even specified it further to be landlord insurance with my insurance company, so they know I have a tenant in there. Isn't that enough? And the even more savvy ones on that side of the debate will say, well, hey, listen, in addition to this landlord insurance I have, my home insurance, I also have purchased this umbrella insurance policy, which covers me for risks on top of the insurance policies I have on one or more policies. So it's like an additional extra layer of coverage, umbrella insurance policy. I mean, isn't that good enough? Well, most likely, probably yes, but you have to always keep in mind that, it's really hard to foresee what type of events you might be sued for. Really it could be, it's so impossible to predict. And on top of that, you have to remember that these insurance companies are in the business of collecting premiums, not making payouts, right? That is their business model. So by default, they will try to make it as difficult as possible for you to make a claim, to make a successful claim and get a payout, because they don't want to lose money, obviously. So, and you have to read these policies carefully. I mean, most buyers that we know never go through their policy in detail to see exactly what is covered and what are exceptions. And, oftentimes they get surprised. And even if they do read it carefully, a lot of these insurance companies are not going to be cooperative, again, because it is not their business model to make payouts on claims. And this is where having properties, or your property, even a single property in an LLC, why it's so helpful, because it boxes up the risk into that specific property. So, say you just happen to have two apartments, and this is stuff that you never sold when you've been moving around. You're not a professional landlord or anything, but you happen to have two homes, and you have some equities in yourself and some other sort of assets you might have, and you don't have it in an LLC, and then God forbid you get sued for something that happens in your property that's no fault of your own. And it doesn't matter, because when you're sued, you're going to have to start paying legal costs just to defend yourself, and it's even more difficult if you're out of state, for example. And then if it's not in an LLC, this person, they might sue you for essentially everything, right? So if the alleged damages are tremendous, might exceed the value of the property itself, then all of your other assets in your portfolio are at risk, even if it's a frivolous lawsuit and you have to pay money to defend yourself from that. Versus if you had the properties in an LLC and something happened in the property supposedly, and then you get sued for it, well, you have the protection of the veil of the LLC, limited liability company. So the risk is separated into this LLC and what it owns, which happens to be only that property. So it's only that property at risk. Now, with that said, you should still leverage your insurance to make sure you get help, ideally paying for legal fees to fight off these frivolous charges. But Like I said, going back, insurance companies will really find any way to get out of that obligation and just say, hey, we don't cover this instance or that instance. Sorry, it's up to you. Then you're thinking, why did I pay you premiums in the first place? But at least by having property in an LLC, God forbid you get sued for something that is like not your fault, but still like somehow there you lose. At least you can protect yourself from total downside by limiting that risk to just that LLC and what's in that LLC and that specific property. There you have it. We hope you found this video helpful. If you're looking to buy or sell property in New York or Florida, we can help you save all 6% in commission when you sell with our agent-assisted FSBO listing service. And when you buy, we can help you save 2% or more with our Hauseit buyer closing credit program, where our buyer's brokers will give you 2/3 of the buyer's broker commission, subject to us keeping a small minimum of 1%. We cover all of New York City, all 5 boroughs, Long Island, and the Hudson Valley. We're based here in Miami, Florida. We cover Miami-Dade County, Broward, Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie counties. My name is Chris at Hauseit, and I'll see you on the next one.